Kylie Christensen, and today I'm going to talk to you about the negative effects energy drinks can have. If you believe you can fly, it shouldn't be from energy drinks. Energy drink consumption represents a global health public issue among teens and young adults, especially those who participate in athletics. These drinks can have a negative effect on your body. According to a CNN news report by Jacqueline Howard, there are many health effects to drinking too much caffeine. In this report, Dr. John Higgins, a sports cardiologist with the University of Texas, studied energy drink uses and found your heart rate increases. That means that your heart rate speeds up and can be an unhealthy rate. Also, you can go into possible cardiac arrest, which means that your heart will actually stop. A 28-year-old who drank 8 had this occur to him. You also have increased blood pressure. Another website called Caffeine Informer, strictly dedicated to information about caffeine. 2 writers named Kalmayer and Foster discussed more side effects, such as migraines, which is a very bad headache that can lead to loss of eyesight, insomnia, which is the loss of sleep. So if you're drinking caffeine to stay more awake, it can actually cause you not being able to sleep, which will make you much more tired. It can cause jitters and nervousness, type 2 diabetes, and it can worsen or cause drug addiction. Obviously, there are concerns about safety of energy drinks, but this is especially concerning when you look at the increase of consumption of these drinks by young people. According to a study by Galaberde and a group of colleagues that was published in the European Journals of Pediatrics, the use of energy drink consumption is up in high school students. Males between the ages of 18 and 34 assume the most, and almost 1/3 of teens between 12 and 17 years drink them regularly. This includes a lot of my friends who drink them every day before school. Another study by Fields in a journal called Beverages in 2015 explained that the most common motivation for consumptions of sports drinks was to rehydrate, that was 84.1%, and of energy drinks was to gain energy, 61.8%. The only problem with this is that sports drinks may help with rehydration, but kids are not just drinking Gatorade, they are drinking Monsters or Red Bull. Monsters and Red Bull are actually very bad when you use sports. They really are not helpful, and you could just use Gatorade or water, which would be a lot better for your health system and for your abilities. Pediatrics say kids and teens should avoid energy drinks while playing sports, according to a report done by the Toronto News. A lot of people believe they're an essential part of rehydration for sports, but we're finding that is actually they're not. Water is the ideal rehydration in sports. Young people do not understand the dangers of energy drinks while participating in sporting events or when they simply need energy for school. High school student in South Carolina died from cardiac arrest. Here's a video on how this happened and why it happened.
A 16-year-old boy who collapsed and died at school last month was found to have overdosed on caffeine.
But Davis, like so many other kids and so many other people out there today, were doing something they thought was totally harmless, and that was ingesting lots of caffeine.
Authorities in South Carolina say Davis Allen Cripe consumed coffee, soda, and an energy drink within a 2-hour period. The coroner says the amount of caffeine he ingested caused a heart arrhythmia, which took his life.
I stand before you as a broken-hearted father and hope that something good can come from this. Parents, please talk to your kids about the dangers of these energy drinks. And teenagers and students, please stop buying them. There's no reason to consume them. They can be very dangerous.
Authorities say they don't know which energy drink Davis consumed before his death, but they're now warning parents to talk to their children about the dangers they may pose.
Our purpose here today, and again I want to thank Sean for being here, is to let people know, especially our young adolescents, our young kids that are in school, that these drinks can be dangerous, and to be very careful with how you use them.
For InsideEdition.com, I'm Mara Montalbano.
So David was just an everyday kid like you and me. He was a good student, he went to school, he always tried his best. He wasn't into drugs or alcohol or anything that could hurt his body. But little did he know that the one thing he thought he was doing could actually hurt him as much as it did, or kill him. David's friends were shocked to learn that he had died, and it was also found in a report that they weren't really sure why he died until the friends told authorities he had been drinking energy drinks, and that's the consumption they found in his body. It's heartbreaking for his dad to have to go through this, and he just really wants really hard to try to convince everyone else that they don't need energy drinks, and there are many dangers and threats that come with it, because he was a good student, and you would hate to see that happen to anyone else. You can find many stories of teens suffering from heart conditions after drinking too much caffeine. A 19-year-old drank 3.5 Monsters and collapsed on a basketball court. When I played basketball, I couldn't even imagine that happening to me. That would be absolutely terrifying and very scary, and it doesn't only affect you, but it affects your coaches and your teammates and your parents, because they have to go through that when you have those effects. Another danger to teens. Energy drink consumption was found associated with the abuse of other substances, such as tobacco and alcohol. So no longer are you getting addicted to energy drinks, but you can get addicted to other things. You can start with something as small as that, but it's just going to keep building and building, and it can ultimately build into something that is much worse. So what I want you to learn or take away from this speech: energy drink consumption represents a global public health problem among adolescents and young adults, especially those who participate in athletics. There's no reason to use caffeine in athletics. If you work hard and practice every day, and you're trying your best and you're in the gym, you shouldn't need an edge on someone else. You might think that using caffeine will give you more energy, but compared to everyone else in the gym, you could ultimately be hurting yourself and not really helping yourself. The dangers of consuming energy drinks far outweigh the short-term benefits. You might feel great for 5 hours, but ultimately you're gonna crash and you're not gonna feel good. So ultimately you should not use energy drinks or consume any other drinks such as that. Energy drinks have negative effects on the body, but for some reason there's an increase in consumption among high school students, and dangers exist when consumed by athletes. A lot of my friends have started drinking a couple drinks that aren't always great for you, just some caffeine drinks, but ultimately no one really needs that. We should be good without it, and just with our practice and everything. So given the dangers that energy drinks pose to high school students and athletes, is it worth it? Is it worth putting yourself at risk and putting others at risk? You have to outweigh your pros and cons when choosing what to put inside your body. And it's not only the risk of hurting yourself, it's the risk of dying. If you consume this drink, you ultimately can die. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. It's not something you think can kill you, but ultimately it can kill you. So I want you to take away the most important thing. Be smart in what you put inside your body. Do the best you can, and you won't have to worry about anything, especially dying. So I am Kylie Christensen, and thank you for listening to my speech on the effects of energy drinks and using other substances.